absolutely nobody. Talking to ourselves, but anyways. Oh, welcome to Friday Chat. We're back again for those who keep harassing us, or harassing me at least. And so we're gonna start doing this again every week. But so I guess what is the routine here, folks? Everyone introduce yourselves. Mr. Doc, go right ahead.
Hello, everybody. Doc Sheldon here.
That's good, man. That is
I know.
man.
I really.
I didn't even get a drink in there. Normally, it's like introduce yourself, and I get to no. All right. Oh, we got two Steves. This is going to be fun. Mr. Steve G. Then let's go that way.
Steve Grenzer from Steam Driven Media, avid fisherman and gentleman farmer.
Gentleman farmer.
Usually a gentleman, anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be debatable. I'm not so sure about that. Mr. Steve Bonin, sir. Well, I just did it, so you're done.
Yeah. Steve Bonin, Harris Web Creative in sunny Southern Ontario.
Hey, still got my Raptors shirt on, man. That's it.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, not taking that off.
Every people at the parade. That's amazing.
Third place bingo. N38.
What the fuck? All right, so yeah, for those of you who don't know what we're doing here, we're just sitting there talking shit, shop, and everything else in between, and it's probably not safe for work, so, put on your headset. Yeah. Because everyone's so sensitive these days, right? So you got to be very careful with this stuff.
Well, if we're going to talk shit, I guess I know which would be a good topic to kick off with.
Oh, what's this? This hangout is on air. This hangout on air is live. Hangouts on air are going away later this year. For quick streaming, try youtube.com webcam. Okay, well, there you go. So there you go. Yeah, we're losing this too, are we?
Yep.
Yeah, that could explain some of the quality issues right there, because they care so much right now.
Have you looked at the YouTube streaming?
Yeah, I know that's not a problem. I can do that through OBS and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna guess we'll set it up through OBS and Zoom, because Zoom's got some pretty good quality, so we can just do it through Zoom and just stream it onto YouTube that way. It's not a big problem. You get like basically a key that comes out of the OBS, and then you just use that key, you stuff it in there, and away you go. So, yep, we'll be fine. I'm nothing lazy.
At least you'll be fine until they go away on YouTube too.
Well, they won't, because the gamers, that's how all the gamers and guys do all their streaming, right? So they don't want to lose out to Twitch and people like that, so I don't see that going anywhere.
They've already lost it all to Twitch. They're trying to gain it back.
Well, yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's more the case, is they're trying to get it back onto their platform. Then I guess, what is it, Steve, the new Google Stadia? Stadia, I guess it is.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful for anybody who lives on fat bandwidth.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I won't be able to use it. It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. All right, so, gee, where should we start, boys? How about Steve? Anything interesting today?
No, nothing interesting on here. Other than poking the guy who wants to start a new SEO certification thing.
Yeah, I didn't, I was, okay, sorry, for the people watching. Yes, we ran into a thread today, and even Facebook has learned how to troll me, because I didn't actually find the thread. I got a notification this morning. I don't know, it was pretty early. I don't know what, you must have been up early. Oh, you were fishing, right? So
I went fishing.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, it was like 6:45 or 7 o'clock this morning, something like that. Even Facebook decided to troll me because I didn't find the thread. I had a notification saying Steve Gerritzer has commented on a thread, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's Steve doing? Oh God, oh my Lord, oh, what's happened? Facebook is trolling me. So what it was, folks, it was I guess, well-meaning gentleman. Let's at least give it that. Was starting a thread that he now has created without even, again, talking to anyone first. He just went out and made a website and everything else, which is a little suspect on its own, if you ask me, but whatever. That it's something SEO Association.org. I don't know. Something about SEO Association. And he would like to standardize us all and do certification. And even at one point in one thread saying that, that big companies should have to go through his website for you to get work. So you're not allowed to work in SEO without asking these people first. So, and yeah, well, so that's the background of it, folks. And unfortunately, this poor gentleman, I don't think he knew, but because he claims to been around a long time or something, that this has been done to death, folks. For those of you who don't know or not familiar.
Death being the key word.
Oh, yeah. It died, became bones, and then turned to dust and blew away by this point. So, gee, Steve, why won't this work?
Should we go with the long list or the short list?
Wait, pick one.
My standard answer, the reason this won't work is because we don't know what the rules are. We can make a pretty good guess, but the only person who knows the rules for sure is Google, and they won't tell us what they are. They will give us guidelines and kind of say, well, if you go over here, you're going to get in trouble, and over here, you should be okay. But then they changed those too, because I remember back when they used to tell you to link to other websites just like yours.
Oh, yes.
That's what started.
Just don't excessive reciprocal linking was the problem. Right.
Yeah.
But it was okay to do recips. Go nuts. Have fun.
So once you start there is no way anybody can legitimately say these are the rules of SEO, because while I'm sure you can get a significant percentage of people to agree with you, you are always going to find people that say, no, directory links work just fine. Or blog commenting works just fine. Or, churn and burn works great. All of these things work. That's why Google has rules against them.
Right, and here's the thresholds for authority. Here's the thresholds for trust. Here's the thresholds for manual actions.
John Mueller just said not too long ago that Google doesn't have an authority rank for domains.
Yeah.
So, where do you go from there?
Everything is on a page level. Yeah.
So then you've got, some other people were looking at this particular guy's previous comments or whatever, and mentioning that in the past he said that Google uses things like SEO Moz and Moz domain authority as part of the ranking system. It's like, no, they don't. Why would they? So the fact that, he's commented that those things are as facts throws the whole thing out the window. And then you add to the fact that, SEOs are basically a herd of cats, and you're going to have a whole bunch of us old guys who will never certify, because I've been through all that. I helped write the A+ certification 25 years ago, and I still never got A+ certified because it's just a pain in the ass and it's not worth the hassle. There are very few instances where a certification actually means anything. And that's why most of them have.
And now think of the concept that he wants, and I actually was rereading it with Doc before we came on the air, and interestingly enough, it was all about, in each state and so on. So apparently SEO only exists in America. I didn't realize he had mentioned that. So as a Canadian, I'm like, wow, you guys have fun with that down there. You go right ahead. So that was interesting that he was that short-sighted. And Sempo's irrelevant. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because they didn't know what they're doing, and he does have some sort of magical way of sorting this out.
Well, apparently he used to work for Google.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Their search quality. But that doesn't mean anything too. He could have been anywhere from Matt Cutt's assistant to one of the guys that reads the PDF and does manual checks on websites.
Well, and he also was talking about getting SEO leaders on board with this to create some sort of board of directors or something. Well, that's never been done before. Simple, that worked out well, because we all signed up on that one. We agree totally on everything that comes out of there. Love you, Chris Boggs. Love you. Just saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, hell, I doubt that four of us could agree on some things about SEO, because again, and then get into different industries, get into different markets, and you know what I mean? Like what you can fly around in with the 3 Ps, which is, for those who don't know, which is pills, porn, payday, and poker. I guess you could have 4 Ps. what flies in a market like that isn't going to fly in your mom and pop toy shop. What you know what I mean? There's even within Google itself, there's each time different markets I'm in, I'm taking different approaches and different thresholds of things that you can do that may or not work.
Well, that's the thing, that Google does treat different websites. They put it in different categories, and you have to be within the industry to, you know.
Right. So let's take his thought here now, and let's talk about something Google tells us, like your money or your life. Well, does Google tell us which sites fall into that category? Nope. So how do you standardize that?
Yeah. And then you get into interesting areas where what used to be national or international terms are now local terms, because Google has recategorized certain buckets of phrases or entities or whatever. And, you know, people who used to do really well nationally, all of a sudden you can't find them at all through absolutely no error on their part. It was just a recategorization of the topic that they were in. And how do you, I mean, there's just so much to account for. Anything that you could do as an SEO certification would be so bog basic that the only person you might be able to make happy would be Terry. And even then, I doubt it, because you wouldn't make programming part of the SEO certification. And that right there throws a whole lot of people out of it.
Mm. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the fact that he would even propose this notion kind of demonstrates that he has a very thin understanding of SEO.
Yeah.
Much less the industry and, you know, and the players. I don't think.
Well, again, in a thin understanding of the history. How is someone going to try and lead us through this that doesn't even know enough history to know how many times this has been tried?
Yeah.
And thought leaders are generally people that are known.
And then
not somebody that just magically appeared.
And then there's the whole thing that it changes.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes really fast.
Yeah. Daily.
Mm-hmm.
But even in big ways, it you know,
yeah.
When you think of 2011 compared to 2013, I think I have those dates right. It was a whole different ballgame in 2013. What you did in 2011 didn't work anymore, or you were getting penalized for.
Yeah.
So Kim Krause got a lot of traffic on that one question she asked on Facebook there. What do web developers do that drive SEOs crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yep, pretty much. Breathe.
Yeah, I didn't really go there, but I'm going to go with they don't listen nor care very much.
Well, I think the point is that clients get a website built by a web designer or developer first, and then SEO comes later. And you know, my since I do both, my biggest beef is web developers who use really crappy themes.
No, but I think to a degree, doesn't this come down to really just the chain of command? Like again, like I mean, I've been in situations where, you know, if it's the owner of the company or if it's marketing director, whatever, says, you know, okay, you people need to talk to each other before you do things, and make sure that, you know, if you're redeveloping something, if you're doing something, talk to the SEO team. Like, because I don't really think it's necessarily the developer's job to know what the hell's right or wrong. I think it's just their job to communicate with us like we would with anyone else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't like, you know, obviously, you know, my wife does development. I started there. So, you know what I mean? We have a good knowledge of SEO, but I don't think that's mandatory.
And there's
it's helpful. It's helpful, but it's not mandatory. No, I agree. It's not the dev's job to know SEO. Now, guys like Stockbridge Truslow, he's knowledgeable in SEO. He does know a lot, and he knows some aspects that I would be hard pressed to talk intelligently about. But he's a rare bird. There aren't very many devs out there that can spell SEO, much less implement it. So to me, the ideal is just the fact that they be educated enough to recognize what they don't know and what sorts of things mandate that an SEO be involved, and help inform the client of that fact, because clients pop up out of the woodwork so fast that we're not going to ever be successful at educating the majority of site owners out there about that. However, devs don't develop that quickly. If we can make them understand that they need to help us inform the client that an SEO needs to have input early on at the inception, then I think that that might be helpful.
Right. So again, doesn't this come down to a systemic kind of thing, though? Really, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
yeah.
that there's systems in place that, you know, that there's like lines of communication between the development team and the SEO. Like,
well, unfortunately, there's an awful lot of finger pointing history, so it's difficult to sometimes bridge that gap, because that dev may have gotten blamed for everything but the sunset by the last SEO, or that SEO may have had all of his work undone and screwed up by the last dev. So overcoming that is not easy. You know, on a one-on-one basis, yeah, but it's a new battle every damn time, you know.
And the other thing is the difference between what I call a developer and a designer. And you get designers who are basically people who do wireframes in Illustrator.
Photoshop.
Yeah, or Photoshop. Yeah, Photoshop, right. And it drives me crazy that they use navigational words that are meaningless. Really, you know, like, where is that going to take me? Like, you know, if it's a product, call it a product. If it's a service, call it a service. You know, don't use some other word and don't.
see, again, I just find that you know what I mean. It to me, it's always that communication, because I mean, I have some clients that, like, I have a meeting every week that involves the dev team. You know what I mean? Like, I sit down, there's like people from the dev team, there's me, there's the PPC guy, whatever, and everyone's communicating things, and you know, and so there's a basis of open door to communicate on stuff. Whereas, you know, other situations I've been in, yeah, nobody's talking to each other, and that's where mistakes happen. So.
I had we had a major problem with the client because of this issue. With the marketing team was demanding certain aspects of the designer, who told the developer do this, and the CEO blessed it, and it screwed up the SEO. And so we got an all hands meeting, and there was a lot of animosity from the devs towards basically everybody there. And I just started out by saying, look, understand the fact this cost me 20 minutes of time to spot this problem. Okay. It was fairly evident. It only cost me 20 minutes, but I bet that your poor dev already had 6 hours into this thing, and now he's got another 4 or 5 hours in to go and rework it. And my 20 minutes should not be causing your dev to suffer more. You know, if you can't learn to communicate amongst the team, this is not the first time this is going to happen. Not the last time, rather, this is going to happen. And the dev contacted me after the meeting and said, damn, thank you. You know, so boom, we've got communication. Just because and it was just a fact. We just made his job harder. And I said, that's okay. One of these days you'll make my job easier and it'll all work out. But really, the whole thing hinged upon the marketing team demanding something, and the CEO having empowered them to do so, and with no need for communication whatsoever. So we had to backdoor the communication, and it's frustrating as hell. Now, that was a great thread that Kim started, Steve, and
the thing is, it's going to get worse now, because now we're throwing in ADA compliance that nobody's, even though it's been a rule forever, nobody's really paid any attention to.
And toss in some GDPR while you're at it. That's going to complicate things too.
Having a website's not going to be easy anymore.
No,
it is going to. We're working on a couple of plugins specifically designed for accessibility, right now that hopefully I'll have these rolled out by the end of next month. Obviously free plugins and all that fun stuff, just to kind of make it easier to force clients, because a lot of people hand off their websites to clients and say, here you go, this is how you do this. But then the clients are lazy because they don't understand and they don't do all the things that they're supposed to do. And we're going to start adding some plugins that will not let you save posts unless certain criteria have been met.
And at the same time, from a marketing point of view, websites and SEO, like Google My Business pages and all that, have become increasingly important. I would say in the last 2 years that the importance of your website and your Google My Business page has exploded. And some marketing teams, they just aren't there. They just don't know. And some marketing teams are still caught in that whole social media, starting conversations, all that stuff. And I'm okay with that. But I think you need to be at a brand level where that really matters. You know,
but even where that would matter, it's still, that's just a discovery element. There's still, depending on, you know, the ticket price of whatever you're selling or service you're operating, they're still going to search you on Google once they discover you on social. I mean, it's very rare that I see a sales attribution that's coming straight out of social.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's very rare. That's discovery, right? And that's surfacing a company, that's visibility. But they still go back to Google. Like if you look at the attribution funnel towards that sale or whatever, they're going to discover someone on social, but they're still going to go search on Google to look at reviews or to go look at the website or whatever. I mean, like oftentimes I'm finding when I look at the different purchasing cycle, you know, social isn't really selling anything most of the time.
No, and I'm right with you. But there are young marketing teams that think that's where it's at.
Yep.
And it's a lot of work.
Well, there's so many clients that are focused on traffic as an indicator of success. You know, the number of visitors doesn't mean a hell of a lot without the conversions, but a lot of them have been hearing traffic for so many years that they're still bought into it.
Yeah,
so let's go back to hits. You know, I mean, Jesus.
Doc, even the inverse could be true though. Like I've had situations where, you know what I mean, like I'm basically in as a marketing consultant, not as much like just an SEO consultant, and they'll be like, you know, I'm spending all this money on these social team, this, you know, this contractor, and you know, I look at my Google Analytics and I don't see sales coming from it. So the inverse could be true. You know what I mean? I got to stick up to the social guys and go, listen, this is, it's not showing properly the way you're looking at it as far as the direct conversion goes. Now that doesn't mean they're not part of the sales cycle. It just means that it's not showing up in analytics as a direct conversion.
Sure.
Right.
But yeah, that understanding needs to be across both teams that we're working together here to get the conversion. So
I guess you can kind of look at it as if you do a social media campaign for a specific service or product, and you can measure your conversions. It's not a direct it's not a direct relationship, but you know, there's a correlation there.
Well, yeah, look at it like old school. I mean, just because you couldn't put an ad on TV for your car dealership and say, well, that didn't sell anything. Well, no, there's salespeople, right? There's another chunk in that conversion cycle, right? You still got to bring them into the place to talk to the salesperson to get that conversion or that sale.
We're going through something with a client where their in-house sales team is basically saying the website's worthless, the leads coming from the website are worthless, and you know, we hate the fact that you put the prices on the website. Okay, we took the prices off the website and then turned off all the leads. There you go.
How's it going now, buddy?
And what's funny is the owner's behind us 100%. He's like, while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and we threw together a really bad 3-product website where the price is on the website, and all those leads go to him, go to the owner, and he's making anywhere between 10 and 15 sales a week off of the exact same leads that the other sales people are saying are worthless and they can't make any sales with it.
I love it.
Well, the very fact that Schema wants you to put a price in the Schema markup, and Google tests for that, kind of shows you that Google wants a price in a product. My one client, I think, is in their space is the only one that puts pricing in their product. It's a high price product, and you know, for half a dozen searches, they're on page one. That pricing page shows up in a half dozen different searches, and their competitors don't.
Yeah. Well, and that's and I had another client, similar, exact same problem. They turned all the pricing off and didn't tell me, which is fine, but it killed all of our Google shopping ads because now there's no price. The product feed fails. And then I got a call a week later wanting to know why their leads dropped 70%. So I go, I don't know. Let's see what you did. No, we didn't do anything. So yeah, you did. You turned off the prices. Well, that shouldn't affect it. I think, yeah, it turned off all the ads. Well, why is that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you put stream on your on your WordPress websites so that you know when somebody went in and changed something?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, you better, yeah, because owners will do it to you. Devs like, well, yeah, and even like a hacker, even if a hacker's in there messing about, like a bad one, like a crappy one, but yeah. Oh, you definitely want to know that, yeah.
Yeah,
and control that crap, man.
I think that's what it's called. It's called Stream, isn't it? That's the one plugin that just logs.
Which again, like, speaks back to the whole development thing. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care if you got writers on the site or if it's dev team people. Having documents available to the teams of what's important when you're in there messing around is important too. Like, you know, media sites, we put together editorial guidelines. Like, you know, don't go creating crazy tags all over the place. You know, when and where to use headings and crap like that.
You don't need to create
image sizes. What's that, Steve? Sorry.
You don't need to create a new category for every single post you make.
Yeah, right.
No,
and the same with the dev team.
God,
like,
I hate that.
Have a document that everyone accesses that it says, okay, these are the things that are important, and, you know, be careful when you mess with it, kind of thing, you know. But yeah, for sure, Steve, you want to know when anything happens on a site when you're in our business, because every little thing can mess with it. Like, as a forensic guy, God, it's always the worst. You know, I get called in on something when, you know, things have tanked, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, so what have you guys been doing dev-wise, SEO-wise for the last 6 months? I don't know. I think we did this. I think, like, there's no documentation, no change logs, no anything. It's just like, okay, great.
Well, Doc knows one of my favorite clients. I tell him about once every 2 or 3 weeks, hey, guess who launched a new product and didn't tell me?
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to know what all the stats are. And it's like, what stats? You launched a new product without telling me, and nobody set up the analytics. The stats are 0.
All right, so given the fact we usually sit in private chats now, we don't really talk in public much anymore. We have some actual questions here, folks.
Wait. We've got viewers?
Yeah, who knew, man? I don't know. I didn't promote things this week. I was just trying to go with it. But since it's fishing, we'll have to give this to Steve. I don't know. First, well, it's from Ricky's Fishing Adventures. For a small company owner, how would you suggest they keep up to date so that you would know if an SEO company they hire is doing things correct? Is the amount of calls I get from people selling SEO is a joke. So there you go.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one because SEO takes so long to show any results for the most part. But if
should you check and see if they're certified or no? Never mind. Sorry.
No, but generally, one of the things I look at is, do they ask the right questions?
Yeah.
What are your goals? What is your profit margin? What's your expected ROI? If they're asking those questions up front, then they actually care what traffic they drive to you.
Yeah, I'm
I've
totally
seen
going, I am totally going with that one, dude. Because literally, even some of the
because
guys. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying I have talked to so many clients who I've gotten the job simply because I'm the only person who has ever asked those questions.
Yeah,
And
and
they're
it's funny because I've worked with some guys who've been mentoring lately and stuff like that, and I've had another guy that says could you look at this proposal for me, and or people that are like, well, I'll do an audit as a lost leader or something like that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, until you've actually had that qualification call or that time with them before you do anything, and ask what are the goals of the business, what are the budgets of the business, what are what are we selling, what's the profit, like you say, profit margins, what is the goal of this, the objective of this SEO campaign? Without that, what are you doing? And I almost everyone I talk to, like, that comes to me for mentoring or whatever, Steve, it's like an alien concept.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to run it through Screaming Frog and, or some SEM rush tool and say, here's your keywords and here's what you should be. And it's like, wait a minute, you haven't even asked this person what are their KPIs? What's important to them?
I'm helping a guy right now learn PPC, doing a little mentoring on the side. Nice guy. He's in the dojo, but I'm not going to name him or anything. We got to talking about testing. He's wanting to run some small campaigns to do some testing. And he was all excited. He'd been running this campaign for like 3 days. And he started showing me the numbers. And I'm like, no, those aren't small numbers. You don't have any numbers, because he had never heard the term margin of error. He didn't know statistically how many conversions or whatever he was testing he needed to even have a statistically valid data set.
Statistical significance.
I mean, it just, okay, great. You spent $100 and you got 2 clicks and 1 sale, and that means absolutely nothing at this point. Come back when you've got 500 sales or 1,000. And yes, sometimes this can take time. It's just the nature of the beast, and people don't. A lot of marketers who, you would think that as marketers they would understand the need for turning a profit. You know what I mean? And that whole side of what we do is ignored by so many people, because all they're thinking about is where can they get a link, where can they get more traffic, where can they get the keyword higher on search, which, by the way, is pointless these days because natural search is like on page 2.
Yeah, rankings don't mean squat anymore.
No. And then you look at the news that came out of Google, where they're saying almost 50% of the traffic to Google never leaves Google. It does not result in a click of any kind whatsoever. So if you're working a keyword term with 2,000 searches, already at number 1, 1,000 of them won't even click anything. Then out of that 1,000, how many are going to click the first ad they see? Half?
All right. So for Ricky here, even more, like, what other common things do we do when we come into something? I'm always asking for Search Console and Google Analytics before I do a damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, where's the access to that? Maybe poke around. Other things, Ricky, I'll always ask prospective clients, what have you been doing SEO wise for the last 6 months, the last year? Because I want to know historically what's been done and what documentation we might have. In your term targeting, how was that done? Did someone just come along and plug it into some tool and say, well, here's the terms you should be targeting? So I think I guess guys, questions. Are they asking you questions, or are they telling you what they're going to do and how to do SEO or what's going to happen? I think for me, if I was on the other side of the fence to explain, if they're not asking me questions about my business and about what we've been doing and what our main and secondary conversion points are, what our KPIs are for success, then if someone's just coming in saying we're going to do all this, that, and this and that without asking questions, that's definitely a red flag, isn't it?
Yeah, Ricky, to make it a simple analogy, if you go to the doctor, he's not going to prescribe you a treatment without asking you what your symptoms are or taking a blood test. There's going to have to be some information gleaned from you to have any idea how to treat your issue. You got to identify the issue, and the only way they're going to do that is if these prospective practitioners are asking you questions about your business, your goals, your problems, your pain points, your client base. They got to learn something about you before they can prescribe.
Yeah.
If they're not, then you're talking to a quack.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta know what your client's selling.
And really, like most business owners, you know what I mean? No other business owners. I think ask around.
Yeah.
You know, has anyone, you know, unfortunately cold calling SEOs, nothing against them, but generally speaking, I haven't had to look for work in ages because I get referrals and things of that nature. So, you know, ask other people you know in the industry that you work in, or other business owners you know, and say, you know, have you worked with anyone that you've had success with? You know, look for people that can at least vouch for them instead of some cold calling prick that's just like, you know, it's really.
And if you're looking online to find these folks rather than them looking for you, finding some random Facebook group that has 20,000 members is not the right market to shop in. You're better off at the local 7-Eleven than you are at that supermarket.
You will certainly get a lot of DMs that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's that awesome Facebook line? Inbox me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's tough. But I, you know what I mean? I think you could say that with a lot of services, you know what I mean? Like an auto mechanic or a construction, a renovation guy or whatever, you know what I mean? That you run that same risk of just randomly going out and finding places. We all tend to ask people we know. You know what I mean? Can someone refer me to someone?
And as long as we're on the subject, I think the next phase after the discovery phase is making sure the on-site stuff is taken care of. If they ask all the questions and then immediately go into link building or content creation or whatever without going through and making sure that the website is ready, then that's just another red flag. There's a certain, I mean, you've got to know what your goals are. Then you've got to make sure the website's ready for the traffic and set up so that it can take the most advantage of what you do. Then you can actually start the SEO side.
Yeah, like I always try to tell clients, let's leverage everything we have already. You know what I mean? Then we'll start looking outside of that, as far as, or even outside of it internally with content strategy or whatever. Let's leverage everything we can internally first. Let's make sure we're getting the very most we can out of that. You know, and then we'll start looking elsewhere. But you know, I'm not a link builder, so not my thing.
No, you're local.
Oh boy, here we go. The trolls are out. And yeah, I guess that's another thing, Ricky, is you know, really ask them if they specialize in certain areas. Like, you know what I mean? To this day, the reason they're making the joke there, Ricky, is because I don't do local. I mean, I've done local in the sense that, you know, I've had a national or international client that has dealerships or things in various states and regions, so there is a local element to it. But I don't know that. So if someone asks me, I'm going to refer it. I mean, I'm going to know what I'm good at, what I'm not, and say, okay, well, local, I'll go talk, you know, hand that off to someone else. Someone's looking for content strategy. I'll say, well, go talk to Doug. Someone wants PPC. I'll say, go talk to Steve. You know, some guys will just take any work that you throw at them because they want to make that money, and that's usually a bad thing.
Got to get the cheddar, man. Well, and that's a discussion we had not too long ago with somebody else on one of the groups was, you know, does everybody expect their marketer to be able to do all of the things, PPC, content, SEO, all of that? And it's no, I mean, 10 years ago, yeah, you could do all of it. 5 years ago, it started getting really hard to do all of it. I mean, I started in SEO, or, you know, natural traffic before there were search engines. But I've slowly stepped away from the SEO side of things in favor of paid traffic because of the way Google is treating their landing pages. SEO, it's getting harder and harder to get the bang for the buck out of SEO in the short term. So I personally have let my SEO skills stagnate a little bit in favor of working on PPC. And if you've got one guy who says they can do it all, that's probably another red flag.
Yeah, if it's a one-man shop, which is absolutely no. If it's an agency that's got 16 people behind the door, then maybe they have specialists in each of those areas. But if you've got a one or even a two-man shop saying we do it all, yeah, red flag.
Well, I take umbrage to that because I do it all. But the thing is, I'm maxed out at 5 clients.
Right.
If I have 5 clients, I can't, you know, I'm working 6 days for 5 clients.
Right. And see, and that's why I step back to mostly just PPC and a little bit of web development, and I'm maxed out at 8. You know, and it's like, but I know guys, and I see them online all the time where they do it all, and they've got 50 or 60 clients. There's just no freaking way they could do 60 clients and do anywhere near a decent job for them.
In Southern Ontario, that is the normal guy who's out there calling himself a web designer or an SEO person. They're mostly an immigrant with cousins back in the old country, and they're here in Canada, and they're selling these services, and all these services are going back to one of their 25 cousins back in China or back in India, and yeah, they have 100 clients. They need 100 clients to make a living, and I don't know how you handle 100 clients.
But then again, they're technically not solo operations either.
Technically not. But that's the other nice thing about the dojo is, you know, I had a problem with, I mean, I'm not good on the whole server side stuff. And I had a problem, and his name is escaping me right now. But, you know, he in 5 minutes, he had the problem nailed down. There's another guy in the dojo. We just chatted like this for 5 minutes, and he had it right down.
Well, networking is what turns us from a solo guy into a team, because we actually technically have a team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, James Morris. That's who did it for me. Yeah, he just looked at the records, the DNS records, and he just spotted the error right away. It would have taken me a week to figure it out.
Again, yeah, I do really feel for anyone who's coming into like cold turkey and, you know, discovered SEO somewhere for their business or starting a new business, and they got to go out there, because it's, as we all know, it's nothing unusual to get a client that's had 3 or more bad experiences before they found you. And it's unfortunate, and it can cost you a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's just sometimes unfortunate. Right?
And what sucks on our end is they want a big discount because they've already been burned. It's like, I'm really sorry about that, but no.
Oh yeah, and then I'll hear how much other jackasses charged them. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
I charge way too little, boys. Yep.
I think we all do. That's part of the problem.
I just care about my clients, and I want to keep that cost down so they can have that money to stay afloat, and that I still have them as a client 2 years from now. I mean, I don't want to be breaking the bank, you know.
I tell all my clients, my goal is to make them happy to pay me in yachts.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if they're not profitable, like if they can't somehow show that they're making you back X times whatever you're paying them, then, like, I've seen weird shit lately. Even lately, it still keeps happening, Steve. I posted in the Dojo group on Facebook, you know, and this woman had this company working for them, and they were doing like directory submissions and search engine submissions and all this articles. I felt like I was in a fucking time machine. I was like, where am I? What just happened? What year is this? And people are still out there doing it.
Need to do it.
So, you know, as this, you know, one of these guys turn around and show me how I profited from your service, and I'm sure they couldn't tell you. Well, I don't know. Which you can for to a degree. Like if you've got your analytics hooked up like on an e-commerce site or something, or if you're, you know, leads, or, you know, I mean, you should be able to say, you know, lead gen increased by X number from search over this period of time, that, you know, revenues increased by X number over this period of time based on the terms we were targeting or things like that. You should be able to show that. You know, you should be able to, you know, show that you're worth the money that you're getting paid. So that's the way I do things. You know, like, fuck that. There you go.
The other thing, now I've come across this a number of times. I have a couple clients that in their head, certain terms are what they think they should rank for. And
Vanity measure.
well, yeah, and I just say, you know what, you get 15 or 10 searches a month for that. Yet this keyword over here, if we change your page to this, you know, there's 350 searches a month. You know, which do you want? But they always want that one because, you know, it's like it's vanity, yeah. But you know, I just that's just another aspect that I think your SEO guy should after he's been with you a couple months should be bringing keyword phrases or content strategy phrases that you haven't thought of.
I think Steve and I, Garen sir, have talked about this many times over the years. Sometimes you have to be honest with your client as far as your USP. You know what I mean? Are you even competitive in your space? I can bring you all the traffic in the world. But again, guys like, you know, Steve, I remember Steve and Terry used to do this a lot more before I did, and I do it a lot now. I'm talking like 10 years ago. But, you know, are they competitive in that space? Like, what is it? You know, is it, and I know Ammon likes to hammer on it too. Like, what is making you different? Is it free delivery? Is it what? What if you are not able to compete with people? You got to be honest with the client sometimes and tell them not to. Like, you're not able to compete in this space. Like, you need to, you know, find new suppliers or cut costs or do something to show an advantage that's actually going to sell stuff. I can bring you all the targeted traffic in the world, but if it doesn't convert, what's the, you know, I'm still going to be out of a job in 6 months as your SEO.
I let a client go earlier this year because I like the guy. I like his product. I like everything about it, except his price is about double what it should be based on what he pays to get him. And I showed him very clearly, here are the numbers. And as a quick test, we cut his price in half just to see what happened. It's like, here's your price point. We did it. We did a pricing test to find out what the price needs to be to sell them. And he can't get them for that price. It's like, well, then you need to find another distributor or another way of getting them made, because at the price you're at now, this is not going to work and you won't be profitable, and I can't keep taking your money. So,
well, and eventually they're just going to turn around and somehow try and say it's our fault or whoever's, and it's, well, that's just not the reality. Like, I'm sorry, pal. So yeah, I've learned to nip it in the bud ahead of time by actually digging into that kind of stuff as well, because I'm not going to wait around. You know, sometimes, like you're saying, you just got to let them go. If they won't listen to reason, or if they unable to find a way to be competitive, then it's unfortunate, but maybe you got to go back and rethink how you're doing stuff. So.
Yeah. It all comes back to that whole ROI thing. If you're not paying attention to that, then what's the point?
Right.
I think that's a good thing about any experienced SEOs. We've touched so many businesses over the years that we have a bit of experience in business as well, like strategy and how to run a business, because we've been helping sell businesses for 20 years. So, well, I started my first business 30 years ago. So comes with the territory. Wisdom helps. I
mean, in some spaces, you can charge more for your product, but there has to be a reason why someone's going to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? If it's customer service, if it's shipping, that brings you back to your unique selling proposition, USP. Right. I mean, if you are going to be, 20% more than someone, then what is the reason they're going to pay that? Is that customer service? Is that after service support, stuff like that? Free shipping, maybe. You need a reason why you're 15-20% more, and hopefully you're justifying that in your sales process and through your sales materials.
Yeah, in today's online world, free shipping and shipping with 2 days, 1 day, that's your advantage over the Pacific Rim. That they're going to be cheaper, but you're not going to get it until the middle of next month,
or the month after that.
Or just list your shit on it. List your shit on Amazon.
and the other thing I've found in the last year is equality marks. If there's a certification for a product, then get that certification, because again, that's your advantage over the Pacific Rim, because people are beginning to realize that the stuff that they're buying from Pacific Rim, that the descriptions and the reviews are all fake.
Yeah.
They're just lies. They're just flat out lies. They'll just say whatever to get you to buy it, and it's not the same thing.
I work pretty heavily in Amazon these days, helping people get their Amazon stores sorted out. And there's it's like we used to have the old directory industries. There's whole industries in Amazon now designed around scamming Amazon's algorithms. And it's tough. It is really tough if you don't manufacture your own stuff. It's tough to compete on Amazon sometimes.
Because it's being manufactured on the Pacific Rim somewhere and shipped here.
Yeah. And it's like if you sell a generic, there's a group that teaches people they have these great big seminars all over the country on how to sell on Amazon. And one of their core things is they've got their own tool that tells you where there's holes in the market. And they say, find a product, go to China, have them knock off that product and sell it for 20% less. That is a business model that's being taught. Mm-hmm. And people are dropping $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 getting a container of stainless steel grill spatulas shipped over from China because they shaped it like a fish instead of something else. And that's their new thing. And these people are all losing money so fast. And the only people who are doing well that I know, there are a lot of people doing very well on Amazon, but the people who seem to be doing the best are the people who are doing their own manufacturing, because China can't compete with that.
Well, I don't know. It depends, I think, a lot of the type of product. For instance, a 20-foot container is going to cost you anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500 to bring over from China to Long Beach, okay? And depending upon what the product is, if there's only 1,600 pieces in that container, then distributing that cost across all those pieces makes it expensive. But yeah, I know people that are bringing 1.5 million pieces in a 20-foot container because they're very small and they're relatively light. Now, that extra 6 cents of shipping cost per piece lets you be pretty competitive, especially when you couple it with the really low manufacturing cost. But their
market is stable. What we're seeing now, and this is hopefully going to change as the new shipping rules go into effect, is let's say you design a new spatula and you go to China and they tell you, okay, it's going to take us 4 weeks to prototype, another 4 weeks to get into production, and then you're looking 4 to 6 weeks to get it to you. So you're 3 months out before you get it. In the meantime, within a week, they're already making them and selling them through all their friends in China on Shopify sites, drop shipping. And they will have been selling your product for 3 months before you get your first one.
Yeah.
This is common. It's not something that only happens once in a while. It happens a lot. It's their business model. Yeah. And the reason they could do it is because they can ship stuff from China for $3 or less, where it cost me $8 to ship.
Well, to move a bit, but sort of get back towards search a little, I guess.
No.
And I think a lot of this also speaks. I think a lot of this also speaks to something that you used to harp a lot about, Steve, which is the old too many eggs in one basket thing. Like, too many times I've seen people crushed by a Google algorithm change or whatever because their entire business is built around Google search results. And, again, if you're not getting diversified channels and places to be selling your stuff, if it's like you're saying Amazon or if it's other ways or social or whatever, then you're always at that risk. You're one algorithm change away from being out of business, and that just never makes sense. It's that too many eggs in one, not enough eggs in one, too many eggs in one basket approach to search marketing. That always scares me, and I constantly to this day still see that. Like that Doc, like that lady I was doing with that forensic thing, man. She's ready to go out of business because some crappy stuff going over on her. Yeah, Steve. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you caught all that stuff. I was getting a bunch of the boys to help me with. But yeah, here, this Steve. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
her dev team tried to say that this is normal Google Flux. So this is basically her visibility, right? Meaning, so yeah, she like her money term was like number 2, and like everything she had would drop out of the top 100, back up to number 2, out of the top 100, and it was happening like on and off every 5 days. And her e-commerce CMS said, "Oh no, that's good normal Google Flux. It's not us." But magically now, as you can see, Doc, it's all come back to normal, and really we didn't touch a fucking thing. So it's like but yeah, apparently according to them, that's just normal Google Flux, there, boys. Yep, that's what it looks like. Sure, yeah, definitely. Your SEO guy's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Google dance is real.
Yeah, it looks just like that with all my client sites. They all just drop the fuck out every 5 days and come back.
That's painful.
Yeah, it was. But again, same kind of thing I told her during all that, Steve, was that, regardless of how this works out and when we get you back and making money again, you need to diversify. You can't, hopefully you're learning a lesson here that you can't just depend on organic. Like, she's not even doing PPC, Steve, like nothing. Like, her whole world is her whole revenue, and then the 3 or 4 people that work for her, all their lives are depending on like the Google algorithms. And that's just a scary thing to do, man.
One of my business consulting clients, I go to their factory twice a year and sit down and go spend a week with them, and also kind of advice on their marketing strategies and stuff. They manufacture their own stuff, and we didn't even have them build their own website until they had 4 different revenue streams from different avenues. We were bringing in money from Amazon, we were bringing in money from Etsy, we were bringing in money from eBay, bringing in money from Wayfair, House. We had all of those running at full tilt before we even built his own website.
Beautiful.
And then the only reason we built the website was to get wholesale customers and get them selling his stuff locally. And it's been so nice because we haven't even considered Google. It's a non-issue for them. It doesn't exist. They can't keep up with the production right now. So we've had to actually, not roll out to social media platforms or anything else that we were going to do until they get some of their production stuff sorted. It's a nice problem to have, to not worry about Google.
Yeah, these days it's rare, but it is nice. I've had a number of business clients, management clients before that had a great idea, launched a fantastic marketing campaign, and then fell flat on their face, either because they couldn't handle the leads or they couldn't meet the production requirements. They outsold their ability. So people would try to make an order, try to get somebody on the phone, and after 5 minutes on hold, say screw this and go elsewhere, or they'd be told they had a 3-month lead time and say the hell with that noise. So that's a common problem with growing businesses. The majority of businesses that fail, they say that the majority of businesses, at least they used to say, 10 years ago, the majority of new businesses in the United States failed. 70% of them were failing within 3 years. And over 75% of those failures were due to inability to service their sales, either by customer service or by production. So growing too fast is a scary thing for a business, and they usually embrace it because, oh, this is great, we're growing so fast, and then all of a sudden their tits up.
Yeah, that's like getting that one big sale. It just when those happen, because they do happen. One of my jewelry clients, had a big sale towards the end of the year that screwed all the numbers. You know, it skewed all the numbers so horribly. And it's like, no, we can't count this. It's at one extreme. We throw that one out. This is what we pay attention to. Because you can't count on getting that one great big home run every year. It'd be nice if you did. And if we do it 2 or 3 years in a row, we'll start counting it. But in the meantime, we have to throw those numbers out because they just screw up everything else. They're outliers.
Well, even
Or
for a
is Google-
business that has a high seasonability issue, like, you know, if you're selling specialty chocolates around Valentine's Day, you want to look at those numbers in a capsule and not expect that to be the same for you in June or October, because it's highly seasonal, you know.
And there we go. Everyone's silent. That's the kind of power I have on people. It's like, oh, fuck that guy again. Oh, my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
Damn skateboarder.
Oh, don't fucking start. Finally got away from that fucking shit. Oh, boy. Yeah, making friends. All right. Well,
Why?
I think that sounds like fun for a first week back.
Oh yeah, it was an hour. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to test things out anyways and get everything going. Like I said, maybe even this week I will test out streaming this through the other way and see if there's any better, see how the quality is. I don't know, is my picture still fucked or what?
Yep.
Yeah, so.
But your picture's never been great.
Well, again, like I said, it doesn't seem to be this bad on anything else. I don't know. On Zoom, Doc, it's not that bad, is it? Or?
No.
I think he was blaming the source material there, Dave.
Yeah,
Concerning what you got to work with, you know.
yeah.
What do you want?
This is a good thing.
Are you on a telephone line or a
Oh no, it's hillbilly internet, bro. It's fucking copper, bro. But again, it isn't. I don't have the problem with Skype chats or anything else. So
No, Zoom is normally pretty clear.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just Hangouts that seem to be going to shit here for me. But
it's the
those are going away anyways, so we might as well start playing with some of the other options.
it's the Google Hub in Scarborough.
I'm not even close to that, dude. I got hillbilly internet.
Yes, you're Belleville or
Coal-fired.
But again, if they're closing this thing down, the Hangouts down, so I doubt they're really, providing a lot of server support. So it's all gone to Stadia now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, anybody watching and so on, thank you. And you didn't want to see me anyways. It's too scary. Frightening. All right, guys. Till next time, which will probably be next Friday. Well, I'm sure we'll all see each other, but to the rest of you people.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Thanks,
all.
all two of you, for dropping in and asking questions and leaving comments. We appreciate it.